the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars.
This is Business Rockstars. I'm Brittany Whitney, and my guest today is Sharon Kevil, founder and CEO of Forti Goods. Sharon, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are in Wisconsin. How's the weather there?
Very, very cold.
Yeah, I'm sure. So let's jump into it. Tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and what you were doing before you decided to start Forti Goods.
You know, I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was just out of college. Less than a year after graduation, I quit the awesome job that I had working for an architectural firm as the lone interior designer for a small office. And I wanted to do something a little bit more fast paced. So I started a company and I was doing interiors, commercial interiors for other entrepreneurs who maybe couldn't afford, high priced services. And I did that until the economy tanked in 2008. And at the time, I was working on a ton of retail projects and I was really interested in retail design. So I took a job with Kohl's, retailer, and I learned a lot while I was there. And at that position, I was able to transition into furniture design. So it was basically a career change that I didn't have to go back to school for. But I was able to rely on my interior design background and know how to create a furniture collection that would seamlessly go into anyone's home. And it was a lot of fun. It was a great job for a while. But after, some trips overseas, I just became concerned about the environment and the human costs of fast furniture. And I made my exit to do something else that fit more with my personal values, and hence my second business was born.
Amazing. And yeah, I was reading you were abroad and you were having trouble breathing, right?
Well, it wasn't, well, yes. I mean, I made many trips over there, and on one instance, all of our factories were shut down in a certain area that produced our outdoor furniture because there was a summit of leaders that was showing up in the town near where we were. And, the Chinese government wanted the skies to be blue for people to visit. There was a time when I was over there when I was 5 months pregnant and, there was an air quality alert that was like, children, elderly, pregnant women should, limit their time, limit their exposure outdoors. So, there is, pollution, and then there's sort of the human cost of things. There were times where I saw people who didn't have proper respiratory protective gear. There was a factory in Vietnam where people weren't wearing proper, didn't have shoes on. And, it just didn't really sit well with me. And when I voiced those concerns, it was, that's just how things are done here. And I just didn't want to be supporting that, personally myself.
Totally. That makes total sense. So for people who are not familiar with Forti Goods, tell us about your company and what you guys do.
Sure. So we are a furniture company that makes locking furniture that is geared towards the cannabis consumer. So think about people who are either parents with young children who are concerned about accidental ingestion, or teenagers who are concerned about intentional ingestion. And there are a lot of people who are using cannabis medicinally and want to be able, who might not have children in their home, but still want to be able to lock it up. Caretakers that are coming into their home. And then the cannabis aficionado, like somebody who just has a lot of stuff, accessories, and a larger stash, and they want to keep all of that organized and proudly displayed. And in today's day and age, you can get online and Google liquor cabinet or bar cart and find millions of solutions.
Right.
But there just really isn't anything that kind of normalizes the cannabis consumer, even though there are so many more wellness benefits associated with it.
And is that a Forti Goods piece next to you?
It is. This is Laverne.
It's lovely. And I love how it's like so chic and clean, and it's not it fits right in the home, you would never know.
Yes, exactly. And we didn't want something that was going to, be tie-dyed or, have a big marijuana leaf stamped on it, or,
Right.
like we wanted the main, feature of the line is that aside from the locks that, it will fit in any interior. And it's something that you'd want even if it didn't have the locking features.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So I want to go back to the time when you were making your career pivot.
Mhm.
What was kind of that first step you took or that first leap of faith when you really decided you were serious about starting this journey?
Like I said, this isn't my first business. It's my second, but it's my first one with a product line that's for sale, which is, a little bit scarier and requires more money. I had told people that I would never start a second business, that I had, my entrepreneurial journey was over. But I just felt like I had amassed all of this knowledge that was perfect for the line that I wanted to create. And nobody else out there was really doing it. And I felt like I could do it justice. So I just was like, you know what? If not now, when? So I took the leap.
That's great. And where did you get the inspiration from when you were designing the furniture?
Part of product design is, seeing what's out in the market, research. And so, we did a lot of that so that we'd have a reference of what's available in the market. We're inspired by current home trends. But because it's being designed for a really, particular niche customer, we wanted the line to be something that, again, people would want in their homes, even if it weren't related to cannabis. We wanted it to be beautiful. And, the cannabis consumer, wherever they are in their in their lives, we wanted to be able to have something that they would be proud to have in their homes.
That's great. And as you mentioned, this was your first physical product that you were taking out to market. What was one of the biggest challenges, or what is one of the biggest challenges that you faced starting Forti Goods? And as it continues to grow, kind of how do those challenges look different?
I think the biggest challenge is, we're not like yes, we have furniture and there are a lot of people out there that are making furniture, but the difference is our locking capabilities. So I think the biggest challenge for me was, okay, now I'm not just a furniture company. I'm now, somewhat of a tech company too, because I have these locks. We had to develop all of the systems to control those locks. And then we had to develop an app to be able to, to open and close your drawers.
Right.
So, not necessarily having that available off the shelf to just put into our piece of furniture. You really have to think through that completely as well. So it was challenging to, get up to speed on the technical parts of it, and to really think through exactly what we would want or exactly what the consumer is going to want, without it existing.
Right. And do you have a co-founder, or is it all you by yourself?
No, it is all me by myself. I have a really great investor team that has been a wonderful sounding board. So I don't feel like I'm completely alone as many solo founders do. I have great support, and I have a team of consultants around me that, are just the best at what they do.
Yeah, which kind of takes me to my next question. Tell me about your experience with raising capital.
I always tell other women who are out looking for funding to keep a journal, keep your head up, and keep going. So keep a journal because you're going to want to remember some of the crazy things that people say to you. And every woman that I have ever talked to who's raised capital has some of the craziest stories that just jaw dropping.
Yeah.
And then, keep your head up, because people are saying no to you doesn't mean that your idea stinks or, that it's just not going to work. It doesn't mean that you personally don't have value. You may have to make some changes, and that's where the keep going comes into it. As long as you keep going, you will eventually be successful.
And what would you say the biggest misconception is about being your own boss? Because everyone wants to ditch the 9 to 5 and kind of run their life and do what they want. But a lot of people don't realize the hard work and that
Yeah.
it's never really off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said it. Everybody thinks that they're going to like break away from a desk and be able to do whatever they want. And yeah, I mean, in some ways that's true. I'm here talking to you from my home, instead of being in the office. But, other than that, it's not some kind of uber freedom. You aren't able to just pack up and, go have drinks or, sit poolside somewhere
Right.
just, on a Tuesday. You're working way more hours than you would if you were working for somebody else. And then the other thing that I think people don't really realize is that, you know, all of the decisions that are made are yours. You can't blame them on anybody else. You can't, the unpopular ones you have to own up to. There's nobody you can say, well, this person made me do it. So you have to, sometimes you have to be the bad guy and you have to be the person who, nobody likes for a minute because you're making a decision that's best for the company in the long term.
And how many people do you have on your team? How many do you manage?
So right now, we have one other person that's helping out, and the rest are all sort of consultants at this point.
Nice. So
Yeah.
how is it like as you continue to grow and you'll add more people to your team? Kind of where do you see Forti Goods expanding?
So I think there's definitely some other ideas that we have for furniture. So this summer, we're hoping to launch something that can be used out on the patio as well, because so many people are doing, spending time in their backyards and, gathering distanced and outdoors. So we're hoping to be able to launch um, an outdoor piece of furniture, patio piece. And, we'll continue growing our accessories line and continue growing the furniture line. And I have probably three plans for expansion on the app too. So it's exciting.
That's so exciting. And yeah, walk me through what people can do on the app and how it works with furniture.
Sure. So right now we have both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability. So when you first get a piece of furniture, you're able to, without having your piece of furniture on your Wi-Fi, you're able to connect with it, pair with it, and get it set up. And then from there, you can put it on your Wi-Fi and you're able to lock and unlock your furniture. You're able to decide how you want to get into your furniture, whether it be when you close it, if you close it and it is automatically locking, or if it will close after a certain amount of time, or if you have to do it manually. So there's a couple of different modes that you can use to get in and out of your furniture. Lastly, we have what happens when battery power is lost. So the lock and controller run on a battery, which can be recharged much like your cell phone. So when it's time to recharge, you can either plug it into the wall or you can plug it into a backup battery pack. And there are two settings, either fail safe or fail secure. Fail safe is when you lose battery power, it unlocks automatically until it's able to be charged again, and then you can lock it up. Fail secure is when it loses battery power, the lock stays locked until it has power to be able to unlock it again. So it's really just unlocking, locking, and then there are some like different settings that you can put in there. Eventually, we want to be able to showcase, how people are or what people are putting within their piece of furniture. So using it almost like an inventory system so that you know what you have in your cabinet at any given time and when it's time to reorder.
That's amazing. You guys thought of everything.
Tried to.
Yeah. What has been kind of your biggest challenge about growing your business during a pandemic?
That is a hard one because it's just, I think the biggest issue is, or the biggest challenge is fear. It's fear around money. It's fear around consumer spending. It's fear around just, what's going to happen with the vaccine. When are we all going to get back, out there? And when are we going to be able to meet with our customers and interact with people face to face? I think that's part of like the uncertainty of where everything's at in the country and globally right now.
Mhm.
But, there are a ton of bright spots, particularly in furniture. People are spending, a lot more extra 8 hours a day at home, pretty much 24 hours a day at home.
Absolutely.
And they're wanting to update and upgrade and make their homes work better for them while they're spending so much time in them.
That's very true.
Mhm.
I want to go back again in your entrepreneurial journey.
Sure.
When you were starting Forti Goods,
Mhm.
did you how long did it take to get the product from idea out to people purchasing it?
It's sort of a hard question to answer. It's not a linear
Yeah,
path.
right.
So initially, when I started the company or when I was initially seeking investment, I was looking for something that was, the company was going to look more like um, commercial furniture. So it wasn't necessarily specific to cannabis and lock-in residential furniture. It was an idea that I had, but I didn't think that anybody would buy into it because I'm in Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't have medical or recreational cannabis.
Right.
So I just didn't think that I would find anyone here who would take me seriously. So I was pitching this other idea. And when I met my investor, I told him about this other, the cannabis furniture idea. And he was like, that's it.
Yeah.
So I was thrilled that not only that I had found him, but that I had found somebody who was interested in the vision that I had and the furniture line that was really a passion project for me. So that's sort of where it started. And from that point, which was at the beginning of 2020, um, it took about, a year to get product into people's homes. So we delivered our first piece of furniture into someone's home at the beginning of January.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And as you said, you had someone who believed in your idea, who believed in your product besides just yourself.
Yes.
What advice do you have for an entrepreneur who really believes in their own product, but no one else around them seems to see what they see?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of being able to reframe things for people. Being passionate, being able to explain your idea to someone that gets them excited as well. I mean, every time I've talked to, every entrepreneur class that I've been in, it's like investors don't invest in an idea, they invest in the founder, people. And so finding a way that you're getting people really excited about what it is that you're doing, having a good idea. And then if it doesn't exist out there, being able to kind of break it down for somebody so that they can understand why it's important to have. Initially, when we first went public, we had a lot of people who would reach out and say things like, why do you need a whole piece of furniture for cannabis? Why do you, like, why are you pushing drugs on people? And it's like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You can go out, like, why is it normal? Why do you not have the same response when somebody's like, oh, I have a bar cabinet in my living room,
Right.
or if you're going to buy a liquor cabinet, nobody's calling Crate and Barrel and saying, why are you selling liquor cabinets? Are
Right.
you, promoting alcoholism? No,
Right.
it's just something that's normalized. And a lot of times when, an idea is new, people just don't really, it's not, it's odd and foreign in their brain and, they just don't get it. So being able to explain it to people, to break it down into simple terms and explain like why their thinking is flawed.
Right. And if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice or multiple pieces of advice, what would you tell yourself?
There isn't really anything. I'm not like a big on regrets or time travel
Right.
to, better my life. I think it's pretty good and I'm happy with the journey that I've taken. But the one thing that, I think a lot of women struggle with is that sort of, um, you know, unwillingly sort of giving up your power. And there is that great, it was the Oprah Winfrey interview of Michelle Obama when she was like, how did you handle being intimidated by all these smart men while your husband was in the White House? And she was like, well, you learn pretty quickly that a lot of them aren't that smart.
Yeah.
And so, it's that giving away your power, believing that everybody else knows more than you do and not really trusting in yourself like you should. And that's the one thing that I think I would probably be, um, maybe just a better version of myself if I had learned that lesson a lot younger.
So easy to say now when you're looking back.
Mhm.
Where can people purchase your furniture?
Sure. So right now we're available through our website at fortigoods.com, FORTIGOODS.com, for anybody, any consumers who are looking to purchase. We also offer trade accounts for interior designers and architects, design professionals. So they could reach out to us at hi@fortigoods.com, send us an email and let us know what you're looking for, and we can work with you to get that set up.
Well, amazing. I'm so excited to see all of the new products that are coming out, and you're in such an innovative space.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see where the future goes for you.
Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Sharon. It was great chatting with you as well.